the author of the best-selling book Vengeance, former Speaker of the House. Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich is with us. They didn't want the information released in the beginning, and this is pretty powerful, this letter of Devin Nunes, the House Intelligence Committee chair. He's basically confirming what I suspect for a long time, that the Hillary Clinton bought and paid for dossier was used in part during an election season to get a FISA warrant to spy on an opposition party and then an incoming president. None of it was verified. If that happened, and we find out that happens, what would that mean to you?
Well, I mean, you have two things right here that are, I think, fascinating. The first is, it turns out there may have been collusion to undermine the American presidential election by a government bureaucracy. It just turns out that the bureaucracy wasn't Russian, it was American, and that it was the Department of Justice senior leadership and the FBI senior leadership. Now that, at one level, is a really frightening insight about the future and about the danger of a powerful police force deciding for the rest of us which politicians they're going to go after. The second thing that hit me, though, as you were talking, is there's this new movie out which glorifies the Washington Post, the printing of government documents, the courage of the Post leadership. You go back and take the whole period of the Pentagon Papers, the attitude of the New York Times, the Washington Post. Isn't it interesting that none of these papers are coming in and making the same demands? Of course we should publish this. Of course the American people should see it.
Where's the lawsuit?
Of course there's a right to know.
Maybe it'll be Hannity and company that has to file the lawsuit to get some of this information. The really dangerous thing here, and I'm making a very strong distinction because I have such great respect for the FBI and the DOJ and intelligence, but the powerful tools of intelligence we now have to get ISIS and al-Qaeda and enemies of this country, if we turn it and politicize it and spy on opposition party candidates and use that information to destroy people, we've lost the country, Mr. Speaker. That's how serious that is to me.
Well, look, there's a whole pattern going back at least to the 1970s of people on the left who were genuinely worried that an intelligent state during the Cold War would acquire so much power that it could actually subvert the whole process. It's sad that almost none of those people are now speaking out about the current problem, because the people at the top, and I agree with you entirely, this is all a thin layer of largely politically appointed type people. It's not the great bulk of hardworking everyday folks out there trying to protect America and trying to enforce the law. But this thin layer, I think we're going to discover in the next few days, clearly conspired to mislead a judge in order to get an ability to spy, which was totally illegal. And I think that's part of why you saw McCabe leave. I think you're going to see some more people leave. I'm really shocked that Strzok is still there. I mean, after all the stuff we learned about him, I don't know why he's not gone already. And I think you're going to see more people have to leave. And then you're going to see whether or not, in fact, they get involved in a serious criminal investigation, because a lot of what they were doing wasn't just unwise. It was illegal, and they were really threatening the freedom and the rights of the American people.
But, you know, what's amazing about this is this dossier. Fusion GPS said in testimony, I think it was before the Senate committee, they never verified it. Hillary Clinton never verified it. Then before the House Intel Committee, Fusion GPS is suggesting they tried to shop the salacious, stories of hookers and Ritz-Carlton and Trump and urinating in bed. They were shopping it and coordinating with the Clinton campaign. Now, Hillary Clinton clearly fixed a primary. She tried to use the dossier to lie to the American people in a general. That dossier was used to get a warrant against an opposition candidate. And we've had a year of Trump-Russia collusion and no evidence. And the media in this country has ignored, I would argue, the biggest story in their lifetime. This is bigger than Watergate. That's like Watergate's like stealing a Snickers bar from a candy store or a drugstore in comparison. Is this hyperbole or am I accurate?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure I'm quite into the Snickers bar versus, say, stealing an entire automobile, but I know where you're going with this. I think it's remember, the elite media is part of the deep state. The elite media group has survived by being in collusion with the senior bureaucracy, the city of Washington, the senior reporters, the senior bureaucrats, the senior lobbyists, they all hang out together. They all talk to each other. They all compare notes. But it is, you're exactly right about the scale of this. And this is what people, when they get to read this, what the American people need to understand is that the Obama administration, in a series of steps that clearly violated the law, tried to both protect Hillary Clinton and tried to destroy Donald Trump. And both actions were illegal. And we're now in a situation, I believe, where you're going to see a requirement in the near future for an independent counsel literally to clean out the senior FBI and the senior Justice Department and to go after people who've left office who were part of the Obama team that was so clearly violating the law.
What do you make of this massive disconnect? The president has a State of the Union address. We have great news. We've got 2.4 million new jobs. We've got 2 million fewer people that are on food stamps. The president gives all this great economic success. People are now building factories and manufacturing centers, and taxes are down. Americans are getting a lot more money starting February 1st in their pocket. He's trying to keep the country secure. You get one reaction from the news media, and you get another reaction, even with the CBS poll and the CNN poll, you know, that shows something very different. What do you say about that disconnect?
Well, I keep telling you, the elite media in the United States is not neutral. They're not referees. They're the offensive wing of the other team. And the elite media, and you saw some of this in the clips you had, some of which are frankly outrageously anti-Trump in a way that's almost bizarre. These are folks who are so deeply hostile to what Donald Trump is trying to accomplish that they are fully as much a part of the opposition as is Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer. And that's part of why you're getting this unbelievably biased coverage. I must say, when I watched last night, and I saw the president say, we have the lowest black unemployment in history, and nobody in the Black Caucus could applaud. I thought to myself, I mean, who are they loyal to? If they're not happy that their constituents have a job, if they're not happy that the tax cuts really dramatically help their congressional districts, then who do they represent? And I think this is a real challenge to the entire left-wing ethnic leadership in America.
We have that montage and a lot more coming up.